All right, that is something of a provocative title, and I chose it deliberately. This is not a personal attack on Ron from Jaw Hacks. His content is absolutely first rate, and I've been a fan of his since the early days when he was documenting his journey. This video is about one specific technical claim that he made in a recent video and the wider implications of it. In his video, Ron explains that the mid-palatal suture must be split in order to unlock structural change. But he also asserts that in order to achieve that split, bone-borne, surgically implanted expanders are necessary. He categorically rules out that practices like thumb pulling and tooth-borne expanders can create skeletal expansion in adults. In this video, I'll show you why I disagree. Hi, I'm Alex from Bending Bone. I'm documenting my personal journey where I try to improve my mouth breather face utilizing a non-surgical approach. So you see, this particular debate couldn't be any more relevant to me and my prospects of success. I've been expanding since the age of 47. I'm now 49 and a half. As of the last measurement I took at the age of 49, I had expanded over 5 millimeters in both jaws. There's a video on my channel of those measurements being taken if you're interested to see. To do this, I've used a series of inexpensive tooth-borne expanders. At one point in my journey, I started encountering a lot of resistance, and the tissues inside my mouth started to become very sore from the pressure being applied by the appliance. I figured that in order to turn the appliance any more than I already had done, and in order to maximize the chance of any potential skeletal expansion occurring, that I would have to split the mid-palatal suture. It really was getting to the point where further turns on the appliance were becoming a problem because my mouth, it was just too sore. So I wanted to split the suture, and perhaps out of desperation, I tried to do that with my thumbs. Much to my surprise at the time, I think that I was able to do it. At first, I could just feel a ridge running along where I imagined the suture was. At that point, I wasn't sure if I had achieved a split, but I could feel sensations in my mouth during thumb pulling sessions that felt to me like the two halves of my palate were coming apart. And I remember I could literally see the difference in my cheekbones in real time. And that was really surprising. I remember that was very exciting. I was doing that thumb pulling. It was probably quite late at night when I started, and I had a little mirror, and I would do the thumb pulling and then look in the mirror, and I could literally see the difference. It really felt like I was able to do some thumb pulling and then immediately see more definition in my cheekbones, and my face, it changed. It literally changed from 1 minute to the next by doing thumb pulling. And I was so excited to see that because I guess for the first time I felt like I had some sort of real agency over what was happening to my face. And I remember I must have stayed up till the early hours of the morning thumb pulling and with this mirror, and it's like like my new toy. So I persisted in order to try and really conclusively split the suture. Apart from that, I haven't done any thumb pulling. I had and still have tooth-borne expanders to get a relatively controlled expansion. I was just using thumb pulling during that period of time in an effort to split the suture. That was it. And I kept going with it until a small but undeniable diastema opened up. This is before I tried to split the suture, and you can see, if I can get it to focus, there you go. You see that the central incisors are overlapping there. Since, if I am right, the mid-palatal suture can be opened without bone-borne devices, this begs the question, what about the other sutures? The ones that prevent the maxilla from repositioning forwards, and the cranial sutures. Maybe the wall isn't as solid as many people think it is. Maybe the adult skull is less like stone and more like tectonic plates. Maybe things can change more than the books say they can. But I'm determined to find out one way or another. So please subscribe if you'd like to follow my journey. Okay, I'm back after 1 week of intensively trying and unfortunately failing to split my suture. The intention was to sign off with a cheeky diastema smile, but unfortunately that wasn't to be. Now, I didn't spend 2 years trying like Ron, but I did spend a whole week of intensively thumb pulling and just about as much as my poor thumbs could take, to be honest. And also, perhaps more significantly, expanding. I turned the appliance more in that 1 week period than I would normally turn it in 6 months. Such is the slow rate of expansion that I usually do. And obviously I changed that in an effort to split the suture. Perhaps surprisingly, right now my mouth isn't particularly sore at all. The only place I really feel any tenderness is right here. Yeah, right here and right here. And coincidentally or not, that's right where the zygomatic sutures are. Over the past week, I've really been able to feel the tension in my cheekbones building. And I was hoping that the sutures would give way and allow the mid-palatal suture to open up. But sadly, that just didn't happen. We shall have to wait and see whether that tension that I can feel in the cheekbones becomes visible development over time or not. I should point out, to be fair, that Ron described how he tried to separate the mid-palatal suture using thumbs alone, whereas I've been using my thumbs on top of a tooth-borne expander. So I haven't really been comparing apples with apples. It's also worth pointing out that the premise of this entire video has been that it's necessary to split the mid-palatal suture in order to get meaningful skeletal change in adults. I think that point is actually contested, and that's something that I'm going to discuss another time. Nevertheless, I acknowledge that I failed to split the suture this time. Of course, I didn't have to mention it at all, but I think it's important to be genuine with people, to say what I really think and not pursue some agenda or filter my experience in order to peddle a pre-existing narrative. So I'll be sharing my successes and failures, and I'll be trying to sort the truth from the hype on the road ahead. What do I think about thumb pulling itself? Well, I think there may be something in it. I believe that it enables forces to be transmitted to the zygomatic suture. That's what I felt myself. It follows that it might stimulate remodelling, but as always, children, adolescents and young adults are better placed to respond to that than I am. Do I think that on its own it's potentially transformative for me as a mature adult? No, not really. I'm not convinced at all. And will I be doing it? Frankly, no, I'm just not going to bother. I have my own ways of applying higher intensity forces to the facial skeleton. Next time, amongst other things, I'd like to discuss mewing. To what extent, if at all, has it impacted my journey so far? And to what extent, if at all, I expect it to impact my journey moving forwards. But before we part, I'd like to clarify my position on surgery. I don't have a philosophical objection to it. I do think it's expensive in absolute terms. That's not to say I necessarily think that it's poor value. I can't help but notice, though, that the latest techniques are often inaccessible here in the UK. Make no mistake, though, if I can't get the structural changes that I'm looking for independently, then I will be going down the surgical route. And maybe I'll even pick Ron's brains, if he'll let me, to discuss the right solution. If it comes to that, I'll be open and honest with you, and I'll probably even document it on this channel. In way of a personal message from me to Ron at Jawhacks, if you do happen to find yourself watching this, if there's anything that you would like to say in response to this video, then by all means write it in a comment, and then I'll pin it to the top for everyone to see. So I hope that you've all enjoyed this little peek into my world. For the foreseeable future, rest assured that I am just as committed as ever to improving my mouth breather face without surgery. There's so much more to explore, and I can't wait to share it with you. Watch this space.